Hello friends, welcome to Trishtech Institute, and in this episode we will be discussing about the SUSE OpenSUSE high availability cluster, that is PaceMaker, and how you can deploy a cluster. So main objectives of this episode is like preparation checklist, then how you will set up the cluster, step by step guide, then cluster installation and initial configurations, and how you can secure the cluster communication. So in this episode we will be only focusing on the first point, that is preparation checklist. So in the preparation checklist you have few things to keep in mind. That first thing is like the planning is the main key to successfully deploy a cluster. So here few things you need to keep in mind: the requirements like your hardware, then your software, then your storage and your infrastructure. So in hardware, exact CPU and memory requirements depends on what kind of use you want to put the cluster for. So that depends on that, and the number of cluster nodes you can have from 1 to 32 nodes, and these cluster nodes can be either physical or virtual, and they don't have any identical hardware requirement, but it should not be on a different architecture. And one more thing you need to keep in mind, that cross platform cluster are not supported. So for the communication purpose, you should have two TCP/IP communication media per cluster nodes, and these communication channels must support the cluster. So you have to have that compatibility check done before you implement the cluster. And your communication method can be either unicast or it can be multicast. So if you are configuring unicast or multicast, please have the same configured or allowed in your switch end also, because if it is not allowed, then your cluster will not be able to communicate. And you should have minimum 100 Mbps link configured for your cluster nodes, and you must configure the cluster communication path via some redundant channel. So for that you can either use network bond, or you can also configure a second communication channel for CoroSync. Then next point for hardware you need to keep in mind, that's called fencing or stoneit mechanism. This is required to avoid a split brain scenario, and this stoneit device can be either a physical device like your power switch. So mostly this thing comes with for physical server via ILO. You can use that as a fencing device, or you can use the mechanism like SBD, or you say like stoneit by disk. And if you are using SBD, please combine it with a watchdog for monitoring the status. And keep in mind one more thing, if you are using SBD, you should have a shared storage configured to set up the SBD. And if you are not using SBD, then your each node should have some fencing mechanism available. Like as I was telling you, you can have ILO configured to fence the node. And it is always recommended to use multiple stoneit devices per node. So if one fails, you have another one channel to fence the node. So once we are done with the hardware requirements, let's move with software requirements. So in software you need to keep in mind there are few requirements, like few required modules and extension, like your base system module, then your server application module, and high availability extension. So once these things are done, also you need to keep in mind few patterns to install, like high availability pattern, that is SLES HA, and enhanced base system. So these two packages you need to install when you are configuring the HA. And if you are planning to configure geo cluster, you have to install HA_geo pattern, and similarly you have to install the enhanced base pattern. And if you need some other additional packages for setting up the cluster and those applications, you have to install them manually. So once you're done with software, then move ahead on the storage requirements. So some services require a shared storage for function it properly. So if you are using external NFS export to provide the shared storage capability, please configure it properly so that it must be reliably accessible from all the nodes. So if this NFS is not function properly, then it may impact your cluster, and it may create some outages or unavailability of services. So provide a redundant communication path so that you have high availability configured for NFS accessibility also. And to make data highly available, a shared disk system is recommended. So if one node goes down, same disk will be mounted in another node and your application or service will be continuing from that node. So you can probably refer this particular diagram to configure the storage connectivity, where you can have two different Ethernet switch to connect via two different link to the storage. Here iSCSI, it can be NFS also. So if you are using a shared disk subsystem, then ensure few things like it is functioning accordingly, your manufacturer's instruction, and your disks are having fault tolerance. So suppose if you are using a SAN storage, so those in underlying disks are fault tolerant, so there by default you can use RAID like RAID 1 or RAID 5, so that you have that fault tolerance enabled. And if you are using iSCSI, ensure like target and initiators are configured correctly. And if you are using DRBD for doing a storage level replication, then only use the device provided by DRBD, like it usually comes as name like /dev/DRBD0 DRBD1, and don't use the underlying backing device like /dev/SDA SDB. Don't use that underlying device. And also try to use the bond configured on the node to have the DRBD sync over that bonded NIC, so that you have a high availability there also. And when you are using SBD as StoneEdge device, you may have to keep in mind some additional requirements which you need to apply to have it functioning properly. So once you are done with storage requirements, let's move ahead with infrastructure requirements. So first thing in infrastructure, you need to keep in mind the number of cluster nodes you need. So for clusters with more than 2 nodes, always try to use odd number of nodes like 3 nodes, 5 nodes, 7 nodes, so that you have a quorum in case of failure. Then second thing you need to keep in mind, time synchronization. All servers should be getting time synced from other external NTP server, and your NIC card names must be identical on all the nodes. It should not be like one node it is bond 0, another node is bond 1. So if you are doing like auto-sync communication via bond 0, all the nodes it should be bond 0 only. Then you should have properly set hostname and IP addresses, and for IP addresses try to use static IP, and you also list down all the cluster nodes into etc host file. So in case your DNS is not working or not configured, still you have the entries added into etc host to reach to the nodes. And here you use both FQDN and sort name also. The next thing in the infrastructure is SSH, or you can say like secure shell. So all the cluster nodes must be able to access each other via SSH. So they should be able to log in to other nodes, and this is required because you have some tools for cluster to function properly, like Csync to CRM report, Hawk to history explorer. So they need that passwordless login to all other nodes, so that they can collect the report from all the nodes. Otherwise they can only collect data from current node only, not from all the nodes. So for that you should have the passwordless authentication configured. Then once you're done with basic cluster setup and all this configuration is done, first thing you do, you create a process to back up the cluster configuration. So as soon as you do a basic cluster deployment, you take the backup, and then every time you make some changes to the cluster, before doing that you take a backup, and once you are done properly you take another backup. And probably you can put a cron job also to back up your cluster configurations in a regular interval, so that you have a backup available in case there is a requirement to restore back from that backup file. Also you can probably have a process implemented to take the backup in a regularly. So that's all for today's session. In the next session we'll be discussing about how you can set up the cluster by step, and hope you have liked this session. Please stay tuned to my channel for all other tutorial videos, and if you have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to it and press the bell icon so that you get the notification about upcoming videos. So bye, have a good day. We'll see you in the next part.